What's up guys, CJ from Team Millennium Ninja here, back to talk to you about the brand new Part 6 episode, and you might notice things seem a bit different than before. Well, basically if you're not up to speed, what happened was TMS last week decided to take a huge, fat, steaming turd on my chest by copyright striking my whole channel. So now the original Team Millennium Ninja channel is gone forever, and to avoid having this happen again in the future, moving forward I'm going to not use any clips and use minimal screenshots. So now thanks to TMS, you'll be able to see every bead of glistening sweat on my face as I get hot and heavy over Fujiko's feet. I'm also going to be re-uploading the old reviews to a backup channel in case something similar happens to this one, so hopefully those will stay up. Now with all that out of the way, let's get into today's episode, which was a great one-off episode. Season 2 so far has been really killing it in comparison to Season 1, even in the one-off episodes. And this episode was a Jigen episode through and through, complete with an old love interest and everything. The episode starts off with Jigen reminiscing about the time before when he left, which we don't particularly know the details about yet, but it seems to have happened on a rainy day, and the rain makes him think back to that. Now it's here while Jigen is in gloomy contemplation that Lupin teases him about it, with Lupin saying some funny lines trying to lighten the mood, but ultimately informing him of a job he's got lined up. To steal the Tear of Marseille, a magnificent jewel that's given to the wife of the Meister family whenever she's married. But as it turns out, the woman getting married is an old acquaintance of Jigen's, so Jigen asks Lupin to put the plan on hold and he attends a party for the couple that night. And it's there waiting in the wings that Jigen spots a suspicious individual, which he reports back to Lupin, who identifies him as Jackal, a kidnapper and ransomer who's famous for not releasing the victim even after he receives the ransom. After Lupin's explanation, we get a little bit of insight into Jackal as he converses with his brother, and they both show off some pretty scummy personality, especially his brother with his knife, who says he's more into cutting meat than eating it lately. And having assumed that they set their sights on Mylene, the woman from before, Jigen tails her to protect her. But after it starts raining, we get the backstory between the two. It turns out that after getting into a gunfight, Jigen was pretty badly injured, and Mylene, who was passing by, tries to help, only for Jigen to brandish his gun to try and scare her off. Then as Jigen lays down thinking it's the end, he whispers some sweet nothings to his revolver and falls unconscious, only to awaken in a bed after Mylene, who had come back to help him, had taken him to her place and removed the bullet. And when he asks her why, she says it's because his eyes were saying that he wanted to live. And she seems to have fallen for Jigen in the short time they've been acquainted as she kisses him. But as all classic Jigen episodes go, this wouldn't last, and Jigen ends up leaving, unable to even write a note saying goodbye. And in the present, Jigen runs into one of Jackal's informants, which leads him to Jackal's crew, where he bursts in and takes them all out. And Jigen in this episode is absolutely ruthless. He shoots all of Jackal's underlings and gets in a scuffle with his brother where he ends up stabbing him in the neck with his own knife. Jackal, however, is able to escape and swears revenge on Jigen for his brother. After that, we get the wedding between Mylene and Maestra. However, it seems that the groom is getting cold feet, and it might just be the conditioning of trying to expect twists and Lupin, but when he walked away from the wedding at first, I really thought he was going to be the one behind all the Jackal stuff. It just seemed like something that would work that way, you know? But it turns out to not be the case, and he's just getting cold feet because he's afraid that Mylene might not want to marry him. And it's here that Jigen and him have a little heart-to-heart, and Jigen gives him a pep talk that's pretty reminiscent of the one he gave to Mylene in the flashback, and he ultimately decides to go through with it. Now as the ceremony's wrapping up, everyone is distracted by the fireworks, and the priest, who was Jackal, is trying to kill Mylene, only to be stopped by Jigen, who was disguised as another guest at the wedding. And the wedding comes to an end without Jigen being found out or ever meeting with Mylene again. But at the end of the episode, Mylene meets up with Lupin, and it turns out that she was the one that tipped him off about the jewel in the first place, as she wanted to see Jigen again before she got married. And we get a little scene of her looking at Jigen tailing her through her hand mirror. Then her and Lupin have a sweet little talk, and she ends up giving Lupin the Tear of Marseille. Then after she leaves, Jigen comes out, and Lupin gives him the tear, which he then proceeds to chuck in the ocean, saying, "Tears aren't my thing." What a Chad. Frankly, I think I'm in love too. And I really like this episode, especially the whole dynamic of Jigen not meeting Mylene again because they're on different paths, but he still wants her to be happy, so he reassures the guy that she's marrying to make sure that she is. And the music in this episode was super on point, especially at the end of the episode when they played the part 2 ending thing. Oh my goodness, I was so hype about that. And as I mentioned before, Jigen in this episode was ruthless, also employing his classic technique of just standing still, shooting, and not getting shot once again in this episode. You know, I'm starting to think that Lupin and Jigen are just the best gunmen in this world because they're the only ones that can shoot straight. But aside from that, a magnificent classic Jigen episode. And now after Jigen's time in the spotlight, it looks like next week we'll be focusing in on Goemon. It looks interesting and I can't wait to see it. I hope I catch you guys then. And this has been CJ from Team Millennium Ninja, headed back to the village hidden in the internet.